something.
Hey everybody, it's your boy homergogo, and today I'm actually trying out something very new, but it is reviews. Before we start, I do want to let you guys know that there will be spoilers in this video, so if you are a type of person that gets irritated with spoilers, get the fuck out. Just go. Leave the video right now. Leave. I recently watched this new show on Netflix, Black Summer. It is a zombie show, I guess. It's a Netflix original. It's supposed to take place in the same world as Z Nation. So I kind of went into it with the idea that it's going to be pretty silly. And like, if you compare Z Nation to Walking Dead, it's like a comedy versus like serious, you know? So I went into it with kind of like low expectations. The plot necessarily isn't very bad. The plot is basically following a group of survivors in a post-apocalyptic zombie world. And the characters also are not bad. They're designed in a way that each person is unique. It's very diverse in terms of different styles, personality, race, gender, whatever. It's a very interesting cast. There's a thing that I feel a little bit weird about in terms of the character development and the characters. On the first episode, the characters are each introduced, right? There's about five, I think there are 5 characters, if I remember correctly. There are 5 characters that get brought up, bam, as a chapter each. But then, like really quickly, as if this was Game of Thrones or something, like in the next episode or two, like they just start getting killed off, as if like these characters that were brought up are not important. They're just kind of killed off and that's it. And then it's like, it just makes you question like, and they start adding new characters that they don't even really introduce the same way they did in the beginning. They're just kind of throw out there, and you think they're just side characters, but then they kind of become main characters. It's just like, I don't know what they were trying to convey to the audience by doing that at the beginning, because they made people think that these were the main characters. So maybe that's a plot twist. I don't know. Like, it was interesting, but I think it was kind of stupid to introduce these people as main characters if they're going to be killed off. And at first I thought maybe this is how they do the whole show. Like, they do it from each perspective, like throughout the whole show. But the format of the show is basically done like chapters, where each episode has like multiple chapters, and it just goes boom, and then there's a title, and then you go to that sequence of whatever's going on. And sometimes these chapters are really weird. The characters themselves are okay, but the format of how they were introduced and how they developed was not. Most of these characters aren't even developed that well. There's not a lot of backstory into it. All it is basically following people in a post-apocalyptic world and seeing how they interact with each other. That's kind of the main gist of it. And that brings me to the next point. Yeah, there's not a lot of zombies. There's like, each episode maybe has like 1 or 2 zombies, and then they're basically brought in to create human to human dynamic, like the relationships between people. So the zombies are not really the main focus sometimes, until the very end. The very end gets a little more intense, and there are some intense parts. I believe this show is a little bit low budget, because I don't know, there's some parts that I saw that just seemed incredibly low budget. Like it felt as though the producers and the directors were just like, fuck it, like, we did what we can, it's okay. There's one scene, I think in episode 3 or 4, I don't know, I think it was 3 or 4, one of them two, where Seth Rogen looking dude, whatever, like he's like walking out of a car, and he walks out, and you see on the top right of the screen, you see like the house just like kind of like wiggle, like it was weird, like it was like a effect. And like as a filmmaker, I realized they probably put a stabilizing effect in post, and it just looks really weird. But it's just like they didn't bother to, like, it just looks weird. I don't know. I just thought like, okay, well, this, like, it just stands out really a lot. Like, I kept looking at it over and over. I was like, okay, well, they just fucked up, you know. Another thing, in the episode with the school, I think that was episode 4. First of all, what the fuck is up with that episode? What is it? What is that whole episode? Why are there kids? And then that one deaf dude just dies? Like, I don't know what is going on. Like, that whole part just threw me off, like the whole school part. But then the diner part came in, and it got intense, and it actually was a real like human to human interaction. It made sense. But the whole school part, it felt like, what is this, like Lord of the Flies? Like, I don't understand. Like, it just seemed super unrealistic. And then the one deaf dude just dies. Like, he didn't do jack shit throughout the first couple episodes, just dies. And he was introduced at the beginning. His name was Ryan, I think, I remember. But then he just dies. Like, I don't know, what was the point? I just, like, that, like, those kind of things make me feel a little like weird about the whole plot. And another thing that I want to bring up in that school scene, they're like, when that deaf guy dies and he becomes a zombie, they're shooting at him, and he moves around and shit, and then he turns around, there's no bullet wounds or anything, you don't see blood, anything, there's just like, there's no holes, like, and I'm like they didn't even try, like they didn't. This show must have been really low budget, like, considering, I don't know, I just don't know, I don't know what they were thinking. Like, some of these parts are just like questionable. Another questionable thing is how the fuck do we follow these main characters, or these main characters throughout the whole thing, and they don't find any weapons, or they don't bother to try to find weapons, and on top of that they just don't bother to shoot them in the head. Sometimes this logic isn't there in the show. The logic in terms of the production, the logic in terms of the characters that are in the story, the logic of like the actual world, I don't know, sometimes it just doesn't make any sense, and like, you have to be okay with that. But I do have to give it one plus for this, because I do like how, especially at the beginning and later on, there are multiple perspectives, and then people do come back together, and it's just all about perspectives, you know. One of my two favorite movies of all time is Vantage Point and Rat Race, because they do the same thing. They follow multiple characters and they all come together. There's closure, there's some sort of closure, you know. But coming back to the whole thing about the format of how it's made, I don't really understand what the point of the chapters are. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And there's some weird chapters, like in third or fourth episode, there's a bunch of chapters where you're just following the fucking Seth Rogen looking dude running away from a zombie, and then he sees a dog, and then that's like a chapter. Like, it's just like, I don't know, like, I don't understand what some of these chapters are. Like, there's some meaningless chapters. So yeah, I don't know, like, the whole part just had me really confused. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. But there's a homeless man that just comes out of nowhere in episode 6 or something, or 5 or whatever, and then he just doesn't talk at all, and they don't even have a conversation, they just kind of assume. The homeless man, he's just like, I guess that's the same dog from the fucking Seth Rogen chapter thing I was talking about earlier, but the dog comes out of nowhere, and then the homeless man and the dog like leave, and I'm like, where did he go? What the he's just gonna go die. Like, I don't he had no dialogue whatsoever. I don't think I heard him say a single fucking word. It was weird. And right after that, right after homeless man leaves, right, they just start walking out towards the stadium that they're trying to get to. And then there's just hella people show up. Like, where do they come from? There's like fucking 10, 20 people with guns just showing up. Like, they're all survivors, I get it, but like, they just show up, and it's just like, where they show up from? Like, they all just showed up at once, and then all these zombies show up. Like, I don't know, like, first there's one zombie, and then there's a million zombies. And the ending, to be quite honest, wasn't that bad. I think it was like a okay ending, and I'm sure there's gonna be a season 2, right? Because fucking Seth Rogen guy just went MIA on our ass. I kind of wish, like, at the end when the girl was running towards the mom, like, she just plot twist, she just got shot, just died, like, just ended on like a cliffhanger, you know? I have a lot of mixed feelings about this show. Like, some parts are really good, and I think there's a lot of potential to it, but then some parts are like throwing me off. Like, what the fuck's going on? I give it like a good 6 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I will see you guys on the next video. All right, bye.